Welcome in, belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football. Welcome into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. This is episode 62, Week 8 Rewind. And before we get any further along, let's make sure that everybody is in the room.
Wingmen assemble!
All right, I want to start off by apologizing for not being able to get this episode out by Wednesday morning. I was feeling very ill yesterday, and to be honest with you, I'm not feeling much better today, but I definitely wanted to get this out before Thursday so we can keep the content moving along. With that being said, we have some major news in our league this week. All right, we had our first trades of the season, and there were two of them. On Halloween night, we had some spooky deals as Amazin Spidey traded away the fourth-rated running back in Raheem Mostert to Red Sox Nation, who sent along the struggling Davante Adams. So in this deal, we have Amazin Spidey hoping that Davante Adams can rebound to some of his more previous strong performances, while Red Sox Nation is truly hoping that Raheem Mostert can just continue to be at least 80% of what he's been doing, as he's been amazing through the first 8 weeks. On to our next trade. We have this one also involving Amazin Spidey, made a trade with Ken's Tompa Brady. And this one was Justin Herbert was sent out with Dameon Pierce by Amazin Spidey in order to acquire the Tennessee Titans backfield of Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears. This one, Ken needed quarterback help as he lost his starting quarterback for the season this week, and his backup quarterback is on bye. So it was definitely, I don't want to say it was a desperate move, but it was a move that was needed, and the timing was just right. So with that being said, let's get into the Game 8 Rewinds.
Let's go back! Week 8 Rewind.
Alrighty, guys, let's get into our weekly rewind. As we had in our first game, a divisional matchup of the top two teams in the even division of Ken's Tompa Brady went up against Michael's Amazin Spidey, and we start off the week with a major upset.
Average Joe's wins in a shocking upset.
I feel shocked.
Tompa Brady defeated Amazin Spidey 99.96 points to 90.64 points. This snaps a 5-game winning streak by Amazin Spidey. And unfortunately for Spidey, who's been making all the right lineup decisions all season, he made several wrong ones this time that cost him the chance for the victory. Also, going into the Monday night game, Amazin Spidey was down 25 points with Josh Jacobs still in his lineup. And it started off promising as Jacobs had 12.7 points at halftime, exactly halfway of what he needed, but he stalled out as Jimmy Garoppolo kept missing the open checkdowns and decided to throw the ball 10 yards out of bounds. A wonderful strategy by Garoppolo to miss his receivers all night long. But let's see how Tompa Brady got his points to complete this upset victory, as he had Jamar Chase get 21 points. Kirk Cousins had 19.86 points.
He's heating up.
Jordan Addison, also from Minnesota, is connected with Cousins to get 17.9 points.
He's heating up.
And Derrick Henry had 14.2 points.
He's heating up.
Tompa Brady made it through the week without any duds. He only had one player on his bench who had a decent game, and that was Marquise Hollywood Brown at 12.3 points. Unfortunately, Tompa Brady probably had the worst injury of the week, as Kirk Cousins ruptured his Achilles and is now going to be out for the rest of the season.
Oh, no.
All right, let's check in on Amazin Spidey's performance and see how he got to this close loss, as he had Christian McCaffrey score 26.8 points. Josh Jacobs had a strong day at 15.8, just not strong enough for the major comeback. And Harrison Butker had 11 points even. As for his duds, he had Patrick Mahomes following up his great game last week at over 35 points, stubbed his toe, getting only 11.64 points. And Nico Collins also made the dud list at 5 points even. Now, this is where the mistakes were made, as Amazin Spidey had 3 players on his bench who scored big-time scores, and any one of these guys would have made the difference, as Justin Herbert scored 24.02 points. George Kittle performed as always without Deebo Samuel.
Debo.
As George Kittle had 19.4 points on the bench, and Javonte Williams got 27 carries at 17.3 points. Amazin Spidey made it through the week without any major injuries. On to our next game. We had another divisional matchup as Jimerson's Red Sox Nation went up against the first place team, Katie's King George, and once again we had another major upset.
Average Joe's wins in a shocking upset.
I feel shocked.
Red Sox Nation was able to win, getting 107.82 points to Katie's King George 98.28 points. This snaps a 3-game winning streak for King George. King George was the highest scoring loser this week.
You lose.
And it's just squeezes down the standings. But let's see how Red Sox Nation got there. As he said in his last At the Bar appearance that he was going with Joe Burrow despite the matchup, and it paid off as Joe Burrow had 27.62 points, and Tyreek Hill keeps chugging along, getting 21.2 points. And Breece Hall is starting to get hot as he had 18.3 points.
He's on fire!
And he had a pair of Dallas special teamers as the kicker Aubrey and Dallas defense each chipped in with 13 points even. Now for Red Sox Nation's duds, he had Zay Flowers get only 4.4 points, and Devontae Adams with his third straight game in the dud list had 1.6 points. Red Sox Nation did have one strong player left on his bench as a scary Terry McLaurin had 14.8 points on the bench.
He's heating up!
Red Sox Nation made it through the week without any major injuries. All right, let's check in on King George's lineup this week. As she had Senor Muy Bien, Travis Etienne is chugging along, getting 2 touchdowns every time he plays, as he got 24.4 points. And she stuck with it. She went with her gut as her goose from last week, Riley Patterson, kicker for Detroit, had 0 points last week. She stuck with him, and he had a huge game this week at 17 points. And Garrett Wilson, New York Jets wide receiver, had 14.1 points.
He's heating up!
Even though the train is slow and rickety, Adam Thielen just keeps chugging along, getting 11.2 points. Now for her duds, similar to Amazin Spidey's duds, she had Lamar Jackson, who had over 35 points last week, get only 11.98 points this week. And she did have a strong player on her bench as Deontay Johnson had 12.5 points. And she made it through the week with a minor injury as Drake London has a minor groin injury, and we're not sure if he's going to miss any time at the moment.
Oh, no.
On to our next game of the week. We have Nick's Waddle Away up against Bernie's Team B.
I'm Cuban B.
Yes, Cuban B.
And Nick's Waddle Away was able to pull off the victory at 91.46 to 88.92. This was the closest game of the week at just over 2.5 points. And unfortunately, Team B had the lowest score of the week. This is Team B's 4th loss in a row, and he is as cold as ice.
You're as cold as ice.
All right, let's check in on how Waddle Away got to the victory as he had Tua Tagovailoa get 25.76 points, and Devontae Smith finally had a good game, getting 19.4 points. Waddle Away did have a couple duds as Tony Pollard had 6 points even. Christian Watson had only 4.8 points, and he did have some strong players left on his bench as Dak Prescott finally had a strong game at 30.06 points, and Kareem Hunt had 13.2 points. All right, Team B is going to be kicking himself as he had a gut punch, as this is at least the 3rd time this year his lineup decisions are costing him the victories that he could easily have, and this one is no different, although this one might be the worst, as he had 133 points left on the bench. My goodness. But let's check in on the players who actually had their points count this week, as he had the Decepticon. A.J. Brown keeps chugging along, getting 29.0 points, tying and or breaking records of consecutive games with over 130 yards receiving. We also had Young Shui Koo, as he's heating up with 12 points.
He's heating up!
And despite a super strong game by the Detroit defense, who had 11 points, but he needed them to get 14 points to have that Monday night defense comeback win against Waddle Away for the 2nd time this year, but this time he came up just short. As for Team B's duds, he had Deontay Foreman get only 4.1 points, and Darren Waller left the game early with a hamstring injury, getting 0.9 points for the virtual goose. All All right, as for top performers on his bench, oh, this list is long and it's going to hurt to hear out loud. On the bench, he had DeAndre Hopkins have 32.8 points. He had the connection from rookie Will Levis get 26.62 points. Brock Purdy had 24.3 points. Jalen Waddle is getting steady at 21.6, and Zach Moss chipped in once again with 13.9. As for the injuries, he had Darren Waller get only 0.9 points because he left early with a hamstring injury, and he's going to miss multiple weeks.
Oh
Let's see. On to our next game. We have Corey's Mac Daddy 2s up against Alex's They Took Our Jobs, and once again we have another major upset.
Average Joe's wins in a shocking upset.
I feel shocked.
Corey's Mac Daddy 2s was able to get 129.86 points, defeating They Took Our Jobs, who was able to get 91.56 points. Mac Daddy 2s had the highest score of the week, and this was the biggest blowout of the week as he was able to win by just under 39 points. Let's check in on Mac Daddy 2's top performers as he had 6 out of 8 players make the top performer list. Let's start with CeeDee Lamb from the Dallas Cowboys, who had 35 points even.
He's heating up.
Geno Smith had a very nice game at 18.16 points, and Tyler Lockett, despite being questionable all the way through the weekend, had a nice game at 18.1 points. And Brandon McManus, kicker for the Jaguars, had 16 points even, while Saquon Barkley, playing through his hyperextended elbow, got all the work as he was able to get 14.3 points.
He's heating up.
And DeAndre Swift had a nice game at 13.4. As for Mac Daddy 2's duds, he had a repeat customer as Ramondre Stevenson is once again on this list as he got only 6 points even. And he had a couple good receivers left on his bench from the Thursday night game as Gabe Davis from the Bills had 19.2 points and Chris Godwin had 15.3. Corey made it through the week without any major injuries. On to Alex's They Took Our Jobs. He had Jalen Hulu has live sports keep chugging along, getting 29.36 points. And Alvin Kamara, ever since his return from the suspension, is also chugging along on a train at 25 points even. I would venture to say that Kamara has been the best player of those who were missing the first couple weeks due to suspension and or injury, and he's been a stud in every game that he's played. Also, his high-priced kicker acquisition, Jake Elliott of the Eagles, had a nice game at 10 points. As for They Took Our Jobs, he had 3 players make the dud list. He had Isaiah Pacheco get 5.5 points, Cooper Kupp get 4.1 points for his second straight game on the dud list, and with the hand injury to Matt Stafford, this may become a trend for all Rams receivers, in fact. Jacoby Myers had 2.4 points. And Russell, as for players that played well on his bench, he had Russell Wilson at 19.56 points, and Jerry Jeudy caught a touchdown for 12 point even. And They Took Our Jobs and made it through the week without any major injuries. On to our next game. We have Reggie's Lions up against Paul's Cubert Rage. And once again, we have a major upset.
Average Joe's wins in a shocking upset.
I feel shocked.
Lionize was able to score 109.88 points, defeating Paul's Cubert Rage, who could only get 96.36 points. Lionize has now won 3 games in a row, and after his slow start, he's going to get the Roland treatment. All right. Also, he was able to come back with his Monday night game with a trio of Lions scoring 56 points to secure the comeback and give himself plenty of room in the end for the comeback victory for Lionize. And with 3 wins in a row, I'm thinking this is a true turnaround of Lionize's season. All right, let's see how Reggie's Lionize got to his 109 points. He had Jahmyr Gibbs have a monster game for the second straight week, getting 27.4 points.
He's heating up.
Austin Eckler had a nice game, rebounding from a dud from last week, getting 21.8 points. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Sun God, is chugging along, getting 13.8 points. He has been on the top performer list in every game he's played this year. Also, he had a nice game from Brandon Ayuk with 13.4 points.
Hadouken!
Lionize made it through the week without any duds. He had a lot of players he could have chosen from his bench that could have helped out, as Joe Mixon gets 18.5 points. Another Lion, Sam Laporta, had 15.7. And ever since the Anthony Richard injury, Michael Pittman has been steady at 14 points.
He's on fire!
Let's check in on Kubert's Rage's lineup as he had Josh Allen get 31.06 points.
He's heating up.
And surprisingly, Rashad White's become an asset, especially in the middle portion of the season, as he had 14.4 points for Tampa Bay.
He's heating up.
Paul had no duds. He did have some strong players on his bench, but they wouldn't have been enough, as he had Sam Howell get 32.98 points and TJ Hawkinson get 17.8 points.
He's heating up.
All right, guys, let's check in on our Goose-O-meter.
I'm just cruising along.
All right, we are still at 6 as we had no gooses this week except for the virtual goose that Team B always seems to get. So 6 total gooses. Red Sox Nation is still up top with 2, and we have a 4-way tie for second with Team B. They took our jobs. King George and Tompa Brady all at 1. All right, let's check in on our updated standings. We did have a little movement, not as much as it would seem, but we had our top 3 teams lose. 4 of our top 5 teams lost. So we are squishing our standings down, and these tiebreakers and points are becoming more and more important. As we have King George is still in first place at 6-2. Pardon me. We have Amazin Spidey is still the top of the even division at 5-3, so he's up by a full game and over 100 points over Tompa Brady. Kubert's Rage is at 3rd place. Red Sox Nation is at 4th. And the only real movement in standings is we had Tompa Brady tied up with Red Sox Nation and has taken a lead with a 2-point overall score tiebreaker. So now Tompa Brady is holding that 5th spot, and they took our jobs is now in 6th. We have 3 teams now with 3 wins, and Team B is by themselves at the bottom with two wins at 2 and 6. We are still in it. Team B is only 3 games back with 6 to play. So he's still alive. He just needs to get going and start winning pretty much all of his games, but he's not out of it. And Lion Eyes has the tiebreaker lead. He's still down by 100 points. So he's catching up. He was down by more than that before. So he's only down by 100 points, 2 games from first place in the division, 1 game out of the playoffs, and he has the tiebreaker if it comes to it right now in the divisional matchups. We're going to answer some mailbag questions next week that refer to a message that we got from Reggie O regarding tiebreakers and divisions. So next week we're going to have next episode rather, we're going to have a new segment we're called Mailbag, Wingman Fantasy Football's Mailbag. So with that being said, guys, don't forget you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio. Just search Wingman the League. You can also find all of our content on wingmanentertainment.net/WFF or /game day or /podcasts. All right, guys. I'm sorry for the little stutters and pops today. I'm coughing and sneezing like crazy, so I've been pausing the recording as we've been going, trying to avoid some of those. So there might be some little stutter moves here. But with that being said, guys, I thank you all for watching. We will see you next time. So with that being said, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty, and we will see you next time.